Recording in progress.
Move it closer.
All right, so we'll be picking up on the next church, which just so happens to be the Church of Philadelphia. Now, I think one thing that the church has done that all churches have done that really honestly fails the people is you want to be a part of this church. You want to be a part of, you want to do, we want to be, this is where we want to be because of the rapture, because of this, because of that, right? There's a laundry list of reasons, and out of context, scripturally backed, right? So non-contextual scripture backing to these ideas and these theories that these men and women have come up with along the way of what you want to be and who you want to be titled and all these things. Let's just focus on what the word says, right? This is the same thing I talked about before. If I'm focused on my salvation, I'm not building my relationship. If I have to ask my wife and my neighbor every day, hey, are we married? You think we're married? Do you think I'm married? That's going to eat away. And our focus is going to be, do other people and do I believe I'm married versus me just living the life of a married man, playing the role of a husband and a father. I don't have to ask anybody these questions. And the church has removed the confidence, which we're going to see, right? It's removed the confidence and it's placed doubt. The church has fear-mongered the people to believe, which is the sad truth, but it is the truth. So with that being said, all right, we'll begin. So we'll pick up at chapter 3, verse 7. And to the messenger of the assembly in Philadelphia write, he who is set apart, he who is true, he who holds the key of David, he who opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one opens, says this: I know your works. See, I have set before you an open door that no one is able to shut, that you have little power, yet you have guarded my word. You have not denied my name. And see, I am giving up those of the congregation of Hasatan who say they are Yehudim and are not, but lie. See, I am making them come and worship before your feet and to know that I have loved you. So we've talked a lot about this word right here, guarded. We've talked a lot about the word guarded and what it actually means. And we have to remember, if you're a guard, that means you're saying the thing you're guarding is more important than you, all the way to your life. That's what a guard does, right? A fence is supposed to guard my yard. And if someone has to destroy the fence in order to obtain my yard, well, that's the fence's job, is to protect even to the point of destruction. So we use the word guard very lightly because we see it's a security guard. They're not going to do anything. It's a security guard, right? It's in their title. It's in their name. But in reality, that person who takes that job should be, in a sense, not just like, oh, I'm out here. I just kind of work here. No, I'm bound by some oath or some implication or some authoritative figure that my life is less important than the things that I'm guarding. So he's telling them, I see your works, right? I've set before you a door that there's no one's able to shut this door. So this door is open for you if you want it. You have a little bit of power, but you've guarded my word. You've not denied my name. And he says, see, I'm giving up those of the congregation of Hasatan, those who say they are Jews, but are not. They lie. So where else do we see something like this? Does anybody have any idea where else we see something like this? So let's flip to John chapter 8. Let's look into these people who say they are Jews but are not. And there's not the only places. There's a lot of other verses where we can, I mean, all of the Gospels have a few accounts of a similar thing. So in John 8, he says, I know that you are the seed of Abraham, but you seek to kill me because my word has no place in you. I speak what I have seen with my father, and you do what you have heard from your father. And they answered him and said to him, Abraham is our father. Yeshua said unto them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. So right here, we can see that the individuals he's addressing claim to be someone. In reality, they're not. So if you jump to Acts 14, in the very beginning, in chapter 2, he says, but the Yehudim, the Jews, who would not obey, stirred up the Gentiles and evilly influenced their beings against the brothers. And I'm just saying, if you just look at our current government and everything going on right now, we could easily argue that this exact verse we are watching and we are witnessing, and we can turn on the news and look at the internet and see this exactly right here. If you jump later on in Acts 14, you go to verse 19, it says, but the Yehudim, the Jews, arrived from Antioch and Icon, and having won over the crowds, right? In verse 2, we see that they are stirring up the Gentiles to influence them through evil. And in 19, we see that they've won the crowds over. They stone Paul, Shaul, and they drag him out of the city, assuming or thinking he's dead. So we can see a cause and effect. We can see that buildup. Right, remember, Revelation says, those who say they are Jews, Yehudim, but are not, go to the synagogue of Satan. What you have heard from your father, right? You go read this in all the 4 accounts of the Gospels of this instance right here, and you'll see, oh, who is he saying their father is? So now we'll jump to Acts 15. We're going to read something in a little bit out of John's writings, and I want you to just, when we're reading it, okay? Because we've covered this chapter a few times throughout our studies through the years. And at the end of the day, there is what we're going to read later, and this and the world today are very connected. And I think a lot of people choose not to see this. So Acts 15, we'll start at 19. It says, therefore, I judge that we should not trouble those from among the Gentiles who are turning unto the Father, but that we write to them to abstain from the defilement of idols, whoring, what is strangled, and from blood. For the ancient generations, Moses has in every city those proclaiming him, being read in the congregation every Sabbath. Right? So when this proposal is going out, they're like, guys, if they are true believers, and if they're in a place that's proclaiming him, that's reading Moses every Sabbath, the Torah is read every Sabbath, they're gonna pick up on everything else. But so we don't stir them away with a laundry list of do's and don'ts. Let's just tell them, do not defile yourself with idols, do not whore, do not eat what is strangled, and stay away from the blood. Do not eat the blood. If you strangle an animal, the blood stays in the body. This is why we can't eat anything strangled. We're not supposed to eat blood, for there's life in the blood, and we're commanded not to. Well, a majority of these animals are strangled as a form of sacrifice to these idols. There's also a lot of sexual sacrifices that are sitting right here in all this area. So this will knock out a large majority of strange god worship. Right? Just these four things will, a massive amount of strange god worship will be knocked out. Because then they're going to every Sabbath, they're going to be gathering together and they're going to learn this and they're going to learn that. They're going to learn this and they're going to learn that. And eventually, as their relationship builds, right? Everybody here has been married, and we all at one point had to learn how to be husbands and wives. We made mistakes, and we learned along the way, and we adjusted. And it wasn't overnight; it took years. And that's what they're saying. This is the Acts 15 council saying. It's going to take them time. If they are true believers, then they will believe. But we don't want to drive them away. So this suggestion, 22, it seemed good to the emissaries and the elders. Everybody in the assembly agreed. They said, yeah, no, this is great. We were wondering what to do, man. What am I supposed to tell my neighbors or these people that are coming to me? What am I supposed to say to them? So this is a huge weight off the churches, off the assembly's shoulders, because now they have guidance. This is what you're supposed to do. So then they decide to send chosen men from among them to Antioch with Paul and Barnabas. Judah, being called Barsabba, and Sila, leading men among the brothers, having written by their hand this, the emissaries and the elders and the brothers, to the brothers who are of the Gentiles in Antioch and Syria and Cilicia, greetings. Since we have heard that some who went out from us, remember those words. John said, they were with us, but they weren't of us, so they went out from us. We've seen this play out in John chapter 6. Remember, Yeshua was talking to them, saying, I am the bread of heaven. Who eats my flesh, who drinks my blood, will gain everlasting life. And the men say, John 6:66, actually, who is able to hear these things? And it says, many taught ones turned from him. Right? So it says, since we have heard that some who went out from us have troubled you with words, unsettling your lives, to whom we gave no command. It seemed good to us, having become of one mind, one body, right? To send chosen men to you with our beloved Barnabas and Paul, men who have given up their lives for the name of our Master Yeshua Messiah. We have therefore sent Judah and Sila, who are also confirming by word of mouth. So here's a letter. We've written this letter. We've told you these men, and these other men are also going to go out confirming by word of mouth. 28. For it seemed good to the set apart spirit, meaning they prayed about this, right? This wasn't just a decision. They consulted the Spirit of truth and feel that the Spirit of truth agrees with this, right? So it seemed good to the set apart spirit and us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessities. Abstain from food offered to idols, or anything what is offered to idols, eating of the blood, what is strangled, and whoring. If you keep yourselves from these, you will do well. Be strong. So this is after a lot of backlash, after a lot of stirring up the Jews, stirring up the Gentiles. Why are they stirring them up? For evil. They're turning against the brothers. There's a name for this. And they decide, the emissaries and the elders, right? The disciples, they decide, hey, let's get something more formal together, right? And let's give instruction to these people so that they can go out in the world and do what they need to do. So remember in your mind, those who say they are Jews but are not, but lie. Remember those, okay? Now we're back in Revelation. Because you have guarded my word of endurance, I will also guard you from the hour of trial which will come upon the earth, to try those who dwell upon the earth. See, I am coming speedily. Hold what you have, that no one take your crown. So think about this. If I'm the guard of, I don't know, say like the president or something, right? Say the Secret Service, and somebody starts shooting at the president's not teleported out instantly in a flash, right? What happens is the guards cover his body and then they get him out of danger. He's still in danger. There's carnage and all the chaos around him, but his guards are supposed to put their lives down to protect him. So people go, oh, well, if we're part of the Church of Philadelphia, then we won't have to see the hour. We'll be raptured up before the tribulation. He says, you guarded my word. You did not deny my name. And because you have guarded my word, I will guard you. He doesn't say, I'll remove you from the hour of trial. You will not face. He's saying, when you're in this, I'll guard you. Think about that. How many times have we been told, oh, before the Church of Philadelphia, we'll be raptured or we'll be saved? I want to be part of the Church of Philadelphia. They won't have to face the tribulation. They won't have to see these things. If you weren't seeing these things, would you need to be guarded? Think about that. He says in verse 12, he who overcomes, I will make him a supporting post in the dwelling place of my Elohim, my Father. And he, that person who overcomes, will by no means go out. And I will write on him the name of my Father and the name of the city of my Father. So if we go into Strong's for this, we see this right here. Yahweh Shema or Sema. Right? So we can say, well, where do we see this? We go to Ezekiel. This is what you were talking about earlier, Kelly. Ezekiel 48:35. Now, some versions say this and some versions don't. Some versions have a different thereof or whatever. Right? So what is the significance of this? Right? What is the significance of this city of the name? So if we look, we see 80:33. Shem is the base word. It's a as verb, and it means to be in it, to be there, within. So the name of the city from that day is the Father is there. The Father is present. And this is going to go, we're going to get into this way later in Revelation, but remember this. The Father is present. The Father is there. Remember Saul? He says, I will remove my presence from you and allow unclean spirits to enter what I was. Well, what did Saul do? How was Saul when the presence of the Father was with him? Look at what David accomplished. Look at what Saul accomplished. Look at what these men accomplished. Well, the name of the city is the Father is there. His presence is there. Kind of a big thing. So he says, he who overcomes, I will make him a supporting post in the dwelling place of my Father, and he will by no means go out. I will write on him the name of my Father and the name of the city of my Father. And that name is the Father's presence. The Father's there. So let's jump back. Well, if you're in Ezekiel, forward to Luke chapter 21. Or you can jump to Luke 20. I'll read 21. We're going to go from 21 back to 20. He says, watch then at all times and pray that you be counted worthy to escape all this that is to take place and to be able to stand before the Son of Man, the Son of Adam. We are watching, guarding, praying that we'll be able to stand before. Remember, the men in the rocks, in the cave, saying, rocks, rocks, fall on us. They don't want to see this day. We should pray that we will be standing when this day comes, not falling and cowering and bowing and hiding, but standing before the Messiah. So let's jump back to Luke chapter 20. We'll start at verse 26. And let's think of the context here, because multiple times throughout the Gospels, the Messiah is asked about the afterlife. He's asked about when the day of Yahweh has come and ended. Okay, what next? And there's a lot of tidbits and things that we can find here and there. So he says, and when, right, the Sadducees, when they were unable to catch him in a saying in the presence of the people, and marveling at his answer, they were silent. So they're unable, there's no way they can word trap the Messiah. Then some of the Sadducees, who deny that there's a resurrection, they came to him and asked him, saying, Teacher, Moses wrote to us that if a man's brother dies having a wife, and he dies childless, his brother should take his wife and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers, and the first took a wife and died childless. And the second took her as a wife, and he died childless. And the third took her, and in the same way the 7 also. And they left no children and died. And the last of all the women died too. So everybody died. At the resurrection, then, whose wife would she become? For the 7 had her as a wife. Remember, last week, a couple weeks ago, I said, if we use the reasoning and understanding of men, we start to dig a ditch that we can't fill with logic and reason and scripture. And then we get so far into that ditch. I didn't say all of this, but I alluded to it. We get so far into that man's reasoning ditch, we cannot get ourselves out. We've reasoned ourselves into a corner, into a hole, and there's no way to get ourselves out. These men are starting to reason, well, according to the law, that she's got to take the brother and the brother and the brother. And then here we are, 8 guys she's been married. What do we do? Or 7 guys that have been married. Well, what do we do? Whose wife is she? They're using human logic, man's reasoning. Right? 34. And Yeshua answered and said to them, the sons of this marriage, of this age, are married and given in marriage. But those who are counted worthy of attaining that age, meaning those who are counted worthy, who overcome, that are attaining the age and the resurrection from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, for neither is possible for them to die anymore, because they are like the messengers and the sons of Elohim, being sons of the resurrection. So those who overcome, it is neither possible for them to die. Think of the promise of everlasting life. Think of what we're saying in Revelation. He says, he who overcomes, I will make him a supporting post in the place of my Father, and by no means he will go out, for he cannot die. I will write on him the name of my Father and the name of the city of my Father, right? The new Jerusalem, which comes down out of the heaven from my Father, and my new name. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says into the assemblies. So a couple weeks back, we saw this word renewed. And I said, hey, I changed that from renewed to new because renewed is different than new. In English, we like to interchange things that aren't really interchangeable. And our mind reasons like, oh, yeah, I know what you meant. I knew what you meant, right? But that's a huge problem because words have meaning. So this word, new, and in chapter 2, is the Greek word kanos, 2537. And this means new, fresh, a fresh new thing. So I'm going to give you this in the simplest way I know how. My truck is black. It's a certain color black. And say down here in the desert, it gets destroyed by the sun and the sand, which I hope doesn't happen. And I get back and they go, man, my truck's paint's looking rough. And I go back to the dealer and I say, I want you to renew the paint that's on my truck. They're going to take it. They're going to sand it down as only as much as they need. And they're going to paint with the exact same paint. And they're going to clear it. And they're going to clean it. And they're going to give it back to me. And I'm going to say, wow, my paint job is renewed. It's the same color. It's just been freshened up, brought back to life. If I went and I said, I want a new paint job, I want my truck to be red. Well, then they have to remove all the paint till it's bare metal. And then they put new paint on it. Right? Something that was not, that now is. It's been altered from its former state. So renewing something is taking it and putting it back to its original state. A new name, a new Jerusalem, a new thing. This is something that did not exist, or it did exist, but existed in a different way. And now it's being changed into something completely different. So the city of the Father, where it says he is, dwells within, his presence is there. The new Jerusalem that his Father has coming out of heaven, and the Messiah's new name. Well, where else do we see this? I know we see this once again in Revelation, but let's go back to Isaiah 56. Give a second to get there. All right, so Isaiah 56. We'll start at 15. He says, for you will leave your name for a loathing to my chosen. And Yahweh will destroy you, but my servants will be called by a new name. which will be blessed on the earth, for they will bless the true Elohim. And they will swear upon the earth and will swear by the true Elohim, for they will no longer forget the former affliction, and it will not come to their mind. A new heaven and a new earth. Think about that. It's not a renewed heaven, it's not a renewed name. New heaven, new earth. For there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and they will not at all remember the former, neither will they come at all to their mind. But they will find in her joy and exaltation. For behold, I make Jerusalem a rejoicing, a new Jerusalem, and my people a joy. I will rejoice in Jerusalem and will be glad in my people. I will rejoice there. Remember, Yahweh Shema. I am there. I will rejoice in Jerusalem with my people, and I'll be glad in my people, and there will be no more heard in her, Jerusalem, the voice of weeping or the voice of crying. This word in, man, it is so important. John speaks so much on this, and Revelation speaks so much on this. Peter speaks on this. Paul speaks heavily about this. In my people. In. Remember this. So we're going to bring this up again later. So this is not something that's being renewed. It's not being slightly changed. Oh, it's the same truck. It just looks newer now. No, this is a whole different one, right? This is a brand new thing. So let's go over to John or First John chapter 4. I'll give you a second to get there. All right. Beloved ones, do not believe every spirit, but prove the spirits, whether they are of Elohim, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. All right, we're going to take a second to break all this down. So, according to John, there are spirits, and those spirits are out in the world. And of those spirits, there are two kinds: for the Father, against the Father. Of the Father, not of the Father. Okay? This is not me, this is John. Remember, he had some meals and a couple times little things with the Messiah, right? He said, there are spirits. There are two kinds: sent by the Father, not sent by the Father. You must prove these spirits to see if they are of the Father or not of the Father. And why? Because there are many false prophets that have gone out in the world. The false prophets are hearing from these spirits, but they are hearing from the spirits not of the Father, hence false prophets. Those that hear the Spirit from the Father, prophets. Spirits not of the Father, false prophets. Well, how do I tell? He says, by this you know the Spirit of the Father. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua Messiah has come in the flesh is of the Father. And every spirit that does not come and confess that Yeshua Messiah has come in the flesh is not of the Father. Okay, so now John's breaking it down. Out of these two spirits that come, those who claim Yeshua Messiah came in the flesh is sent by the Father. All of those that say he was not sent in the flesh, that spirit is not of the Father. And what did we just read? We'll go back there. Remember, I said, keep this in your mind. See, I am giving up those of the congregation of Satan who say they are Jews but are not, but lie. me ask you this. The Jews in the time that John's writing this, did they believe that Yeshua was the Messiah? Absolutely not. Today, do the Jews believe Yeshua is the Messiah? Absolutely not. So if I'm looking for spiritual advice or religious advice or anything or scriptural understanding or reasoning or wisdom, do you think it's wise that I go to a Jew? I'm asking for a friend. You think it's wise I go to a Jew? They are saying Yeshua did not come in the flesh. They're saying the Messiah did not come in the flesh. Okay, well, why? So let's pick back up in verse 2. He says right here, and this is the spirit of the anti-Messiah, which you heard is coming and now is already in the world. Wait, so was John in the end of times? Was John in Revelations when the Antichrist comes upon the earth? Was John there when the COVID vaccine came out? Was John there when Tesla chip went into people's... Oh my goodness. So Elon Musk and Fauci were back in the days of John. That's how old they are. Oh, maybe those evil spirits in them, but he's saying that the Antichrist, the anti-Messiah, is already in the world. But the Antichrist, he ushers in the mark of the beast, and he's in the end of Revelations, and we have to go through this. Well, John is saying that the anti-Messiah has been in the world. What's the spirit of the anti-Messiah? Oh, it's saying that Yeshua is not the Messiah. Well, that kind of makes sense. The spirit of the anti-Messiah, the Antichrist, is against the Messiah. And anybody saying Yeshua is not the Messiah is against the Messiah. Well, they've already been in the world. We've known that, right? And that spirit has been in the world. We saw it. Remember Caiaphas and the Jews standing in front of Pilate saying, "We want him dead." And he said, "Well, I wash my hands of this innocent man's blood." And they said, what? "Let his blood be on us and our children. We don't care. Curse our generations. We don't care." That is the spirit of the anti-Messiah right there. Verse 4, he said, "You are of the Father, little children, and have overcome them." Overcome who? The spirits not sent by him. We've overcome to he who overcomes. It sounds interesting. Because he, Yeshua, who is in you, is greater than he who is in the world. Oh, Yeshua said, if you let me in, I will reveal unto you my Father, and then my Father will stay in you. So we allowed Yeshua to come in. The Father reveals the Son, us allowing the Son into us, he then reveals his Father. Amazing how that works. 5, they, who's they? Those with the spirit of the anti-Messiah, those not claiming the Messiah, those spirits, not of the Father. They are of the world, therefore they speak as of the world, and the world hears them. Ooh, now we're getting into this. So these spirits are going into these false prophets that are being guided by spirits that are not sent from the Father. And these false prophets being led by these evil, unclean spirits, false spirits, anti-Messiah spirits, are of the world. They're speaking to the world. And because of that, the world recognizes, hey, you're my people. I'm of the world too. Verse 6, we are of the Father, and one knowing the Father hears us. He who is not of the Father does not hear us. So when you're having a conversation with somebody and you're like, yeah, man, Saturday's true Sabbath. Here's like a buttload of like unreligious, factual, historical records, documentation of like the church and Constantine and others, these councils changing the Sabbath and even recognizing that the Sabbath is Saturday. And that's why we keep the Sabbath, because, it's like in the 10 Commandments. And they're like, yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. But we go to church on Saturday. or on Sunday, because that's the day he was risen. This person is listening to a false prophet who is led by a false spirit, who is not sent by the Father, who is connected to the anti-Messiah, and is of the world. And since it's of the world, and that person you're speaking to is of the world, they recognize and would listen to that rather than you. And how do we know this? He says right here in the second part of 6, by this we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of delusion. Beloved ones, let us love one another, because love is of Elohim. And everyone who loves has been born of the Father, and everyone who knows the Father, right? So we talked about this, that biblical word love. It's the same word that agape. It's the same word that Paul uses, right? It's a unconditional, not concerned with profit, not concerned with gains on my end, genuine concern for the well-being of another, right? There's a fire, and if I reach into this fire and pull you out, there's probably a good chance my arm's going to get burned. But out of my love for you, I have no concern over my physical body. I reach in, I pull you out, and I burn my hand. Okay? So does anybody remember what the Messiah said about the greatest gift? Can anybody recall that? Bueller. Okay. Yeshua said, there is no greater gift than him who will lay down his life for his brother. He lays down his life for his brother. There's no greater gift than that. So, genuine, unprofiting, not concerned about myself, not worried about myself, concern for another. That's love. Saying he, Yeshua, the Father, has this love for us. And this is the love that we should love one another with, because love is of the Father. And everyone who loves has been born of the Father and knows the Father. The one who does not love does not know the Father, for the Father is love. Think about when you're a child and your parents are just like telling you, you can, you can't, you can, you can't, you can, you can't. And you're just like, do you even love me? Do you even care about me? So, 9. By this, by what? By our love for the others, by us having the spirit of truth, by us not being caught in this delusion that the world has, by us being guided by the Spirit of the Father, by us testing the spirits to see which one has been proved of the Father. By this, the love of Elohim was manifested in us. We understand, we've built our relationship and connected the dots. The love of the Father was manifested in us, that the Father sent his only brought forth Son into the world in order that we might live through him. That we can gain everlasting life because of him. In this is love. Not that we love the Father, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be an atoning offering for our sins. There is no greater gift than he who lays down his life for his brother. Remember, Yeshua said, they came up and said, "Oh, Master, your brother and your mother's." And he says, "Who is my mother? Who is my brother? Who are my sisters? Those who do the will of my Father in heaven. That is my mother, that is my brother, and that is my sister." Paul also refers to those who do the will of the Father as his brothers and sisters. Peter, John, we just read in Acts 15, the church, the ecclesia, the assembly, and the elders were writing to their brothers, not of the blood, right? Not of the womb, right? Brothers of the water. Remember that? Blood is thicker than water. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So our brothers of the water we're less concerned with, but our brothers of the blood of the covenant, the blood of the Messiah, that's who we're loving and writing to. We've been given a gift, the greatest gift, he who lays down his life for his brother. Yeshua, right here. 11, beloved ones, if the Father so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has seen Elohim at any time. If we love one another, Elohim stays in us. There's that word again. And his love has been perfected in us. And we know that if we stay in him, and he is in us, because he has given of us his Spirit. So we stay in the Father. His Son promised to stay in us. And the Father has given us his Spirit. We have seen and bear witness that the Father has sent the Son, the Savior of the world. Whoever confesses that Yeshua is the Son of Elohim, then Elohim stays in him, and he in the Father. Remember, the Father reveals to us the Son, and if we confess the Son, we accept the Son stays in us, the Father is revealed to us. Whoever confesses Yeshua is the Messiah, the Father stays in them, and he stays in the Father. And we have known and believed the love that Elohim has for us. And I don't have this in my notes, but I'm going to pull this up. Bear with me. Because I just realized something. We're going to look this up. And do this real time. All right. Verse 15. Whoever confesses. Look at this word. I believe. I'm a believer. Think about this. Giving thanks, promising, confesses, acknowledges, admits, assured, enter into covenant, in full agreement, to align with, to speak the same thing, to agree with, confess, declare, admit, to speak the same, to acknowledge. Think about that. He who speaks the same, he who admits, he who is one with, he who agrees with, he who completely aligns with. Whoever completely aligns with the idea that Yeshua is the Son of the Father. The Father stays in him, and he stays in the Father. And we have known and believe the love of Elohim has been for us. What do you mean, the love of Elohim? Oh, yeah, when he gives his only Son to be atoning offering for us. We know the Father loves us because Elohim is love, and he who stays in love stays in Elohim, and Elohim in him. By this love, the love where he gives his only son, the love where he says there's no greater gift, or there's no greater love than those who lay down their life for their brother. By this love has been perfected with us, in order, right? And I know this seemed like a sidetrack, that we might have boldness in the day of judgment. Remember in the beginning when I said the church has taken away our confidence? It's taken away our boldness to stand up and stand tall and say, I know the Messiah, and the Messiah knows me, and the Father is in me. I'm not tricked by the spirit of delusion. I'm not on the wrong path. We should stand in the day when Yeshua returns. Remember, what did he say in Luke? Luke 21. Pray that you be counted worthy to escape and to stand before the Son of Man. Well, I know I can stand before the Son of Man because I know that I'm heeding his warning. I'm reading this because I know that love is being perfected in us, and that's giving me boldness in the day of judgment. I'm not concerned. My heart will not fail me when the calamities of the earth will come upon, because I know the promise that Yeshua will guard me. The Father will guard me. The Father will protect me. Yeshua will protect me. How exactly? I couldn't tell you. But I can tell you that his word is true and that he's never gone back on his word. We will have boldness in the day of judgment because as he is so, we are in the world. So we can take comfort in knowing that Yeshua was here and was able to be found perfect and was able and died for us and atoned for our sins. So that even though we are in the world and it seems difficult on a lot of days, that love in us can guide us to the Father. It can guide us back to that love. 18. Why? Because there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. Why do you have boldness in the day of judgment? How do you have confidence? Because I know the Father loves me and I love him. And in that, I'm not worried. I know he's going to reach through the fire to injure his arm to pull me out. It's just a matter of when. And I know that he knows all. So he's going to pull me out at the moment. Paul, he's not going to give you more than you can handle. And he's going to pull you out the last second. He's going to step in at your breaking point. He'll never let you get to your breaking point. Even though we feel like it, the majority of the time, like, why do you do this to me? I can't do this. I said these words many a times. But we shouldn't be fearful. We shouldn't be worried because we love him and he loves us. Why? Because fear holds punishment. Rocks, fall on us, fall on us. Fear holds punishment. And he who fears has not been made in perfect love. Oh, so you're telling me from the beginning, these people that when they were made, they just weren't made to be loved by the Father? No. Right? If a man is not born again, he'll never see the kingdom of my Father. We choose not to be born again. We choose not to be made in that perfect love. Yeshua says, unless wheat dies, and falls over and hits the ground, there's no way it can spread more seed. It must die of itself in order to bear more fruit. Think about it. He who fears has not been made in perfect love. We die of our former selves. We are washed clean of our sins. We are born again. We're made again. Okay. But this time we're made with a purpose, with a sense, with direction, with love, with care, with acknowledgement, in agreement, confessing, aligning with the words of Yeshua, who aligns with the words of the Father. Remember, he says, whoever confesses my name before men, I will confess his name before my Father in heaven. Oh, so whoever aligns with me on earth, I will align with before my Father in heaven. Ever think about it like that? 19, we love him because he first loved us. If someone says, I love Ellen, I love God. Oh, I love God so much. But that guy, man, I hate that guy. Yeah, he's from my church. I hate him. Okay, well, if he's from your church, he should be a brother. Shouldn't be a guy, should be a brother. Because you're supposedly doing the will of the Father, and he's supposedly doing the will of the Father, and you guys are supposed to be brothers. But you say you love the Father, but you hate him. Well, you're a liar. Not my words, John's words. And not John's words, the Father's words. For the one not loving his brother, whom he has seen, how is he able to love the Father whom he has not seen? We have this command from him that one loving the Father should love his brother too. Remember, Yeshua talks about this. It's not that I just physically harm my brother, it's I think about harming my brother. I wish harm for my brother. I've already sinned against him. Right? You should have boldness, not just in the day of judgment, but today and tomorrow and every day moving forward. That the words that you guys are reading and you guys are studying are building up your confidence to know and building up your trust in the Messiah. And the things you're seeing and the changes in your life and the things you're like, wow, that's kind of unexplainable. It could only be like, he does exist. He is here with me. I have allowed the Messiah into me. And because of that, he's slowly revealing the Father. Oh, guys, keep from offered to idols, keep from the blood, keep from things strangled, keep from whoring. Okay, because this is the Messiah. We've come because we believe this Messiah is, there's truth to it. That's why they came. The Father revealed the Son to them. But when they went to the people, we don't want to drive them away. We don't want to lie to them, but we also don't want to give them a, oh, here's your first day, man. Boom, just stack of stuff. Hopefully you got all this by the end of today. And whew, good luck, dude. It took me 14 years to get where I'm at, but you could probably do it overnight. Oh, yeah, I'm sure they would love that. I'm sure that would instill confidence. I'm sure that would instill boldness. I'm sure that would instill trust and an understanding of this person who they're supposed to trust. All right. That is all I have on Philadelphia. So unless anybody else has anything they'd like to add in, I'm going to stop the recording and we'll move on to Laodicea. Anybody have anything? All right. Stop the recording.